Well, the 5th episode of Gen V is finally here, and it provided some clarity on why the previous episode cut to black right at the last moment, with the group thinking that it was Rufus, and one of my initial theories pointing the finger at Rufus too. It turned out that it wasn't. There was a twist in the tale, and there was another monster lurking in the shadows, and that was Cate. So with that, let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is Gen V Episode 5 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Why did Cate do the memory wiping? So in the final moments of the episode, we saw that it was revealed that Cate was the person that was behind the memory wiping, and she was the reason as to why everybody forgot what happened in the build up to going to Cardosa's house and the battle with Sam. The group couldn't not only remember that night, but they also had blank spots in days where they couldn't remember a thing, which showed that she eradicated parts of their memories which were specifically focused around the woods and looking to uncover it, showing that she'd been working with Shetty for a while. We also found out that Cate had been using her powers on Luke, Golden Boy, when he was alive, in making him forget about his brother Sam, who was locked up in the woods at the time, something which Sam revealed to Emma, which ultimately blew Cate's cover. This is something that explains why Luke had those visions of a woods and a voice calling to him in a dream, a voice which at the time sounded alien to him. It was almost his subconscious overriding Cate's powers and letting him know that his brother was there. So that was an initial clue that Cate had been willing to wipe the memories of people that she was close to, as at the time, she was the only person around Luke that would have been able to have done that. Even after Luke begged her to do it, she said no, most likely due to the guilt that she felt, so it shows that she knew that it was even morally wrong to do it back then. This then poses the question as to why Cate was doing it, and why she did it to the group. Well, I think there are a couple of different theories and reasons as to why she's done it. We know that Cate's working closely with Dean Shetty, and it very much seems as though Shetty's moulding Cate the same way that she's moulding Marie. However, it seems as though Marie is a bit more aware of the wrong intentions that Shetty has. What do both Cate and Marie have in common? Well, the discovery of their powers brought immediate tragedy upon them and their family. Marie with her killing her parents, and Cate with her telling her brother to go away and never return, something which he still hadn't done to the present day. So it does make me wonder if Dean Shetty has promised something to Cate. Maybe the possibility of locating her brother in order for her compliance in going against the people that she cares about. That's the only reason as to why I feel that she'd betray her friends, because there's something equally as powerful and a desire within her that's being promised to be fulfilled. Or we could just be seeing Dean Shetty express her control over the supes and just mentally manipulating Cate. It's quite ironic that the person who has the power to make people do what she wants and have full control over their mind is actually having her own mind controlled by a human that doesn't have any powers at all. Shetty is almost gaslighting Cate into thinking that what she's doing is protecting her friends and it's for the greater good, when in reality it isn't at all. Cate is just as much of a problem as what Dean Shetty is in this situation. With the final scene being Cate giving Andre all of his memories that she wiped back inside of him, it makes me think that she's probably going to do that to the rest of the group. The relationship is tarnished with a thick brush, and it's going to be hard for them to trust her again, but I feel we will see them trust her as time goes on, because at the end of the day, she knows more information than anybody else about the woods. We just found out the purpose of the woods. Within this episode, subtly given to us was the main purpose behind the existence of the woods and the reason that it's underneath Godolphin University, and it was Dr. Cardosa who spilled the beans. We heard that he was on the cusp of creating a virus which would spread amongst the supes and would then ultimately allow them to have control over them, because they'd be dependent on the medication that they'd most likely go on to develop. Or it could be a virus that wipes out some of the population, meaning that there'd be supe population control. Having the woods underneath the university is the perfect location for this, because it's a location which has a large population of supes in a really small, congested space. So it would mean that once the virus is created and given to a supe, transmission speed would be rapid as they're all essentially in one location. We don't know what this virus actually is or how it impacts the supes, but it could end up taming their powers down slightly so they're not so OP and above the human species. We saw that Cardosa said that Marie was one of the most powerful supes that he'd ever seen, something which I did discuss in my previous video, so feel free to give that a watch where I discussed the supe's powers. And he said that he wanted her on the experimental table, something which Shetty denied him of, so I do wonder if Marie's going to be facing a threat in the near future. With Marie drifting further away from Shetty, Shetty's loyalty to Marie is something which may start to dwindle and fade away, so time will tell with that one. Overall review. I thought this was a good episode of the show. It was tamer than the first 4, but I didn't mind that, as it felt like this one really focused on the story and allowed its developments and revelations to do all the talking, rather than the blood splattering everywhere. Although we did get that moment with Sam when the guards were coming after him, there was a moment in this scene which I thought was telling of Sam's powers. It looks as though he's bulletproof, as we heard shots being fired and he didn't even react to them. Obviously, he was in his puppet form, so we didn't see it in reality, but it very much seems like that's a strong defense that he has. I'm looking forward to learning more about Sam as time goes on, because he's definitely an interesting and complex supe. It's starting to look like Emma is the person who she is today with the insecurities that she has because of her mother. With her mother saying that anytime she went big she'd be considered a monster, it makes sense as to why Emma always chose to get small as part of her powers. However, after going big and receiving a good response from everybody around her, boosting her into the top 100 rankings and placing her at 88, I feel we're going to be seeing a much more confident Emma that doesn't hold on to the demons from the past as much, something which I'm looking forward to seeing. One thing I can't get over is Andre's lack of a bro code either. Sat there with his arm around Cate, and they're both sat there talking about how they missed Luke and that he used to have the best commentary of the show that they all used to watch together. Either they were in a throuple or Andre was a major third wheel, but bro's been dead for barely any time at all and they moved on quickly. But considering what happened in the closing moments, it doesn't feel like they're still together anyway. We saw brief moments in this episode which I think is a nod to something which is going to make Marie extremely powerful. We saw her pull the tracking device out of her bloodstream and it caused it to explode out of her skin. I think this is hinting and showing us that she's going to essentially make people explode in front of her by tapping into their blood. We saw her do it to herself on a small scale, but it very much feels like in the right situation, maybe when she's in a battle, it could be very advantageous, as it would prevent anybody from getting close at all. I loved the fact that the song that closed out the episode was I Put a Spell on You. It was very telling of the behaviour of Cate and what we'd seen her doing to her friends in making them forget everything that was going on. There's definitely going to be a clear divide in the group now. We saw how they were acting towards Rufus, quite literally wanting to kill him, so they're going to be holding hard feelings against Cate. The story is definitely shaping up to be very interesting. With only 3 episodes to go, I know, I can't believe it either. I think we're in for an exciting ride in the final few episodes. So, there you have it, Gen V Episode 5, Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.